Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're glad to see you here. And my guest tonight is Moni Castaneda, and I'll read a little bit about her and her bio here and a little bit about Feng Shui. Feng Shui is an ancient yet modern energy healing modality that can change your money flow, your relationships and family, and your health. By shifting some furniture and decor, you can shift your life in wonderful ways. And today we'll explore Feng Shui for success in bringing our intentions into reality. Moni is a Feng Shui consultant, speaker, and author who has devoted over 2 decades to the study and practice of Feng Shui. Moni blends her knowledge of Western architecture with Eastern Feng Shui to help clients turn their current homes into dream homes that support them in every area of their lives. The result of working with Moni is a life you love and a home that makes you proud. And Moni practices Feng Shui as what it was intended to be by the old masters, a branch of ancient Chinese medicine. And she created a method based on the ancient principles of healing. She has written several Feng Shui manuals or how-to books, and her most recent books talk about the why of Feng Shui, why it is so important to be aware of and have control over your home environment. And I've included the Moni's website link below and the Amazon page where you could look at her books and order them if you'd like to. And Moni was my guest for the first time in a year ago, in the
Mhm.
end of January last year, and I was felt really, really called. I knew I was going to do something new that year. I didn't have any idea what it was. I didn't think it would start so soon. I figured, oh, maybe June or July, something would
Mhm.
come along and I'd be ready. And bam, it was Moni's program, and I knew I couldn't not do it. And I'm about, would you say, halfway done? Maybe a
I
little bit
think
more, half,
I think
you
they're about
half,
80% done.
80%. Well, that's
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
And I
Because
was
as you advance with the steps, every step is easier and shorter than the previous one.
Okay, well, that's good. So I
Yeah.
got the 80%. That feels really good.
Yeah.
Then, and I just wanted to echo here. She helps you turn your current homes into dream homes that support you in every area of your life. And the result is a home that you love, a life that you love, and a home that makes you proud. And I have found those things very true in my life in the
Yes.
year I've been working with Moni.
You have
And
made amazing progress, and I'm so proud of you. When you look at those before and after photos, because you started with so many challenges with a home that is very physically old. It's like 100 years old, and had not been cared as it needed to be cared for the probably last 20 years, right? And so you started out with so many challenges, and you also didn't have previous experience with home decor or feng shui or anything like that. So it was almost like a fresh, like a blank canvas, right, for
it
you.
totally,
And
totally
you
was.
have made so much progress. You have learned so much, and you have become so sensitive to spaces and feng shui. Like the progress you have made in less than a year is absolutely astounding.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I've been probably like many people working on thinking about the coming year and
Mhm.
what I want to see happen in my life in this year. And for me, I don't know if it's any simpler than with other people, but for me, in looking at what my heart, my soul really, really wanted, um, I want to be happy. I've spent most of my life not happy. I mean, I've gone through happy times, and
Uh-huh.
definitely there's happy parts of life in almost every day, right? But to feel happy and know happiness, as the base go-to emotion, it was like I've never had that, and that's what my soul wants this year.
Mhm.
And thinking of that and my intentions for how I'm going to focus on bringing those to fruition um, made me think of you. And I just love how the and you of having you on as a guest again to talk about them. And I love how the universe works because I was thinking, well, it was like Monday morning, right, or something like that. And I didn't have anything planned this week. And I was thinking, okay, universe, tell me what it is I'm
Yeah.
supposed to do to set up here for the podcast. Nothing came, nothing came. And then I heard on something I was listening to or something I read, um, this week's astrological energies are really good for asking for what you want. And I thought, well, what I want is for Moni to be my guest this week.
Yay.
And so I sent Moni an email and she said, I'd love to. So here we
Here
are.
we are.
And
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. So you want to tell us how Feng Shui can help with our New Year's resolutions or just our
Yeah.
life intentions?
Well, let's start with what feng shui is, because there may be somebody listening today that has never heard the term feng shui, or has heard about it, but they don't know actually what it is. So, feng shui is the ancient East Asian art of placement that teaches you what to put where so that you can be happy, healthy, and successful. Basically, we aim at giving you a feeling of safety in your own home, and creating harmony so you get along with others better, and also becoming more productive. Those are our objectives. And so in the system that I use, the steps to feng shui system, the first three steps have to do with the architecture of the home. So we help you make changes in the home that are going to give you a baseline of safety, so you're not in that fight or flight mode, so you're not stressed out all the time. So the home is like a cocoon that holds you and nurtures you. So those are the first three steps, architecture. The next three steps have to do with the interior design of your home, and that's the finishes and finishings, basically the major choices you have made in your home as to colors on your walls, on your floors, the type of countertops you have, all those kinds of things, also large mirrors and things like that. And that helps you create harmony. So when you live in a place that is constantly producing some kind of irritation, you are going to be more likely to argue with the people that you live with. And when your home is more harmonious, you are going to not feel triggered, and so you're going to get along better with the people that you live with. And then the last three steps have to do with decoration, with home decor, and the smaller items, accessories, decorations, lamps, things like that are kind of small and easy to move, right? And so your the lighting in your home that is wired, where you have your lights, that is part of interior design. But small lamps that you can move around, for example, that is part of home decor, furnishings of your home that include furniture, accessories, and decorations. And so those are meant to empower you so that you can actually decide where you want to go in life and get there. Feng Shui is about empowerment. Feng Shui is about being able to say, this is what I want to do, and do it, right? In any time of life. And of course, this applies to New Year's resolutions, because the basic premise of the New Year's resolution is that you want to change something, you want to transform something. There's something about how your life has been until this moment that doesn't satisfy you. So now you want to do something else. You want to do something different. And let's talk about the typical things. Most people in January, most people I know at least, they want to lose weight. They want to be fitter. They want to be stronger, right? And many times they try to do this year the same thing they have been doing for the last 10 years or the last 20 years, and they set themselves up to fail again. So it's failure after failure after failure. Every year that you start, for example, with a resolution that you're going to lose 10 pounds, this year I'm going to lose 10 pounds, and it doesn't happen again and again and again. And that creates kind of like a recording of failure in your life and in your home, that you try again and again and again, and nothing seems to work for you. So sometimes this comes from your motivations aren't pure in a way. Your motivations are not even yours. And sometimes it's because you want to do something because that's what society tells you to do, but that's not what's best for you, right? And so I have met many women that were at a very good, healthy weight for themselves, but they wanted to have a six pack, right? They wanted to show the abs. And for you to be able to show the abs, you have to have like very low fat percentage. But that is a vanity metric, right? So some people genetically, it's easier for them to show the abs. For other people, genetically, the abs don't show until they get into really low, dangerous percentage of fat. And so it's not a necessity, and it's not even an aesthetic requirement that for you to look good, you have to show your abs, right?
Mhm.
And so you have to start with asking if your resolutions come from you, or if they come from something that media or social media has fed you that is important for you to do when it really isn't. If something that you want to do as a resolution doesn't align with what in Feng Shui we call your highest good, it's very hard to complete it. Now, so the first thing is to make sure that your resolutions are healthy, that they come from a good place, that they don't come from feelings of lack or feeling that like you're not good enough. And so that's the first thing that I would say. You got to make sure that your um, purposes are in alignment with what is best for you. And then there's things that you can do in your home that are going to help you do this. If you have a resolution, some purpose that you have had year after year after year, there are things you did probably at home in order to achieve that goal and that didn't work out. So, for example, maybe one year you bought a treadmill. Maybe the next year you bought a stationary bike. And maybe the next year you bought a set of weights. And then in the eating aspect of this, maybe one year you thought, I'm going to get a food processor so that I can cook more meals from scratch. And then you didn't. And then the next year you're like, I'm going to start juicing. So you went and spent a lot of money in a juicer. And then the next year you say, well, the one pot meals are the answer. So you went and got a pressure cooker. And the next year you got an air fryer. And so the accumulation of these things in your home is a constant reminder of the things that you wanted to do that didn't pan out. So the first thing that I recommend people do is that they declutter the items they got in previous years with the purpose of supporting their goals that didn't work out. The thing that you tried to do last year, like for example, you wanted to juice, the same reasons that you didn't do it last year are the reasons you're not going to do it this year. So maybe juicing is not the best thing for you. Because if it was, if you had tried it and it was, you probably would have continued doing it. Does that make sense? And so the first thing I recommend that you do is that you declutter those things that you got to support your goals that didn't work out. So, for example, if you got a treadmill and you used it 2 weeks, 3 years ago, and you never used it again, and it's just collecting dust, every time you see that treadmill, it's a reminder of you not following through with a goal.
Mhm.
So it's just best to sell it or give it away and just let it go. And if you got that pressure cooker, if you got that juicer, whatever you got for your kitchen, whatever gadget you got, just let it go. Because if it's just occupying space on your countertop, it's just taking away room in your cabinets, that's not going to help you. So you need to let go of all these symbols and not focus like on this idea that I failed and then failed and failed and failed again, but just think about I tried. I did a good thing, which is I tried an approach to achieve my goal and it didn't work out. So I was successful in finding out what didn't work for me.
Hmm,
So
I like that.
some of the things that happen when I work with clients that have these kinds of goals, like they want to become stronger or they want to become thinner or they just want to be fitter. Some of what happens is that letting go of things works really, really well. So one of the most beautiful cases I have had of a young woman who wanted to lose body fat was she was 21 years old and she was probably 25 pounds overweight. And what she did is she decluttered, and I helped her declutter all the clothes that didn't look good on her.
Mhm.
When we were done, she took 14 large trash bags full of donations to the thrift store.
Wow,
14 large bags. And so we
that's a lot.
counted, so for example, she had 40 ugly t shirts. The kinds of t shirts that you get when you go to an event, like Binder got the t shirt, right?
Mhm.
With advertisement for different companies that were not pretty, that didn't look good on her. So 40 t shirts. And then we found she had 36 pairs of jeans that were basically the same cut. They were not very different because she thought she didn't look good, so she always got the same kind of pants that didn't have any beauty to them. And so
Mm.
she kept 14, and we worked on that. And I told her, the next time you buy clothes, buy only clothes that look really good on you as you are today, on beautiful fabric, with beautiful fabrics, so that the piece of clothing is beautiful to look at even if you put it on a hanger, and fabrics that feel really good on your skin. And she did that, and she lost 21 pounds in I think 3 months, with no effort, just focusing on beauty, just focusing on feeling good and feeling more like herself. So that's one of the things that you can do, is you let go of the clothes that don't look good on you right now, and let go of anything, like, for example, the treadmill, the stationary bike that you never use. Just let it go. Make room for better things, right? And here's one thing that I have found. It's actually, most people, if they get exercise equipment to have in their home, they won't use it. The percentage of people who get exercise equipment and they use it is less than 50%, from my experience, working with clients. And it's because a lot of people are social exercisers.
Mm.
They will exercise if they get a gym membership, and they go to the gym and they make friends, and they work out with people and they feel like they're part of a community. Or in some cases, they go to the gym and they get a personal trainer, and that works better. So sometimes what works in terms of resolutions is taking things that you had planned to do at home and doing them somewhere else. So, for example, for somebody who got a treadmill and the treadmill didn't work out, it may be because they want to be outside. They want to go to greenways. They want to be surrounded by forests. They want to breathe fresh air. They want to get sunshine while they walk, right? And for other people, it's going to the gym and being around people. And so you have to find out what works for you. And just remember, I think, when they were developing the light bulb, they tried thousands of ways that didn't work. And so you're not going to have to do thousands of ways, but you need to understand that trying something and finding out it didn't work is a success, because now you know that doesn't work for you. So now you know that buying exercise equipment for your home doesn't work. Now you know that getting a subscription for exercise or fitness and that you can watch on your TV or your phone didn't work for you. And in those cases, you keep searching, you continue searching for alternatives of what might work for you. And your home holds emotional memory, right? And so you want to let go of anything that you've tried before that didn't work, because when you look at those things, you tend to associate them with a failure. The second thing that you do, so the first thing is declutter, right? The second thing that you do is you reorganize to interrupt the autopilot that we get into. So we all have, like, the home has memories of everything that you tried in the previous years in the objects in your home, but also your body has memories of how you do things. And in Feng Shui, we recommend that you move 27 small things or one large thing every time
Mm.
that you feel like you need to break a cycle, that you need to change things, that you need to look at things different. Because you get so used to using your home in particular ways that you don't even think about it. So if you change 27 small things or one large thing, that is going to force you to break the autopilot and make conscious choices instead of making automatic choices. I listened to an interview recently of a guy that helps people with weight loss and fitness goals. And he said that it is impossible for somebody to be successful in these endeavors if they don't change their home,
Mm.
because their bodies and their minds have certain ways that they work. Like you come home and you walk to the fridge and you make yourself a sandwich and you throw a lot of mayonnaise on it or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
so just by changing a piece of furniture on your way from the door to the kitchen, that maybe forces you to walk a different way as you walk to the kitchen, that's going to interrupt the pattern. And it could be, for example, that you have the dishwashing liquid to the left of the faucet, and you move that to the right of the faucet, and that's one of 27 small items. And maybe you move the position of where you keep your toothbrush on your sink,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you change where you keep your brush for your hair, and you just move 27 little things in your home so that it feels to you, it feels to your unconscious mind like it's a new home full of possibilities for you to be able to do new things or to do things in different ways. And this is extremely effective in getting you unstuck. Then the third thing that you do, so
Um,
the first
I
thing,
have I
yeah.
have a question on, like you said, 27 small things or one big thing. How
Mhm.
big, or what's a couple examples of big items? How big does it have to be big?
Okay, so for example, the example in a family room could be you change the location of the sofa. So maybe your sofa was in a certain direction and then you move it so it's 90 degrees of where it used to be. Because the sofa determines how you use the living room or the family room. And in your bedroom, it may be that you can change how the bed is placed within the bedroom. Or you can move a wardrobe that you have that is large. Now, there's some cases where there's only one way you can have the bed and still have good feng shui in a bedroom, because you need to have a solid wall behind the headboard and you need to be able to see the door without being right in the path of the door. And for some homes, there's only one way you can do that. But if you have the option of moving that, that can be very effective. It can be also changing something major, like getting a new area rug for the living room.
Mhm.
It may be that you turn your desk,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's so it would be the bed, a wardrobe, a sofa, a large rug. You could also change if your dining table is rectangular or oblong. You would could change the direction that you have placed that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has to be something that forces you to move differently as you walk through your home.
Okay.
And
Very good.
that is also very effective because sometimes there's a lot of stagnation from keeping a large piece of furniture in a certain place. I remember a client in Iowa or Illinois many years ago. She had lived in the house 25 years. And when they moved, they put a bookcase on a certain wall in between two doors. And that bookcase had been there for 25 years. And so moving that was was so powerful for her because she was forced to see her home in a different way just from having that piece of furniture in a different wall. And also when we moved the piece of furniture, we found there was a lot of dust right by the baseboard that you couldn't see. I mean, she was cleaning, she was sweeping the floor, she was vacuuming around it, she would go with a crevice tool around the piece of furniture, and yet there had been a lot of dust that was collecting between the back of the furniture and the baseboard. And it was actually like thick, like felt, because it had been 20 years of not cleaning.
Mm.
But something big can also be something that is not big in size, but is big in function. So we have lived in our home for 20 years. And from the beginning, we had a clock that was on a certain wall. And as we move things around and as we change the function of rooms, we used to homeschool our kids. So our family room was the school room. Then the kids went to school for the last for high school, and so we changed things around. And as we changed things around, we just never changed the position of that clock. And when my youngest child left home, I felt like, man, I really need a change. So I changed my living room again, and I moved the clock from the wall where it was to a wall that is perpendicular to it. And the whole house seemed to be in chaos because for 20 years we had this habit of looking up checking the time, looking up, checking the time. And I mean, it's been 6 months and we still look for the clock in the other wall, right? And then we have to remember, oh no, it's in this other wall. And so that forces us to think different. That forces us to move different. And it's a little bit of a frustration because it's 20 years of habit, right?
Mhm.
But we know that it's about adjusting. It's about changing with the times and changing with the circumstances.
So that could even help, like with, say, with dementia or Alzheimer's anyway, keeping your mind active. Would that be part of preventing
Well, I
mental
guess
health
for
problems?
prevention, what I heard, after a person has
Mm,
Alzheimer's or dementia, that you want to keep things in the same place.
sure, that makes
Um,
sense. Yeah.
but definitely for preventing, the last thing you want is to form habits of thinking that are immovable. So for us, that clock was something that was immovable. As everything else changed around the home, that's the one thing that was always in the same place. So changing that is very significant for us.
Mm, mhm.
So the first thing was you declare. You declare the things that could mean to you failure or things that you got that you never used. There's no reason to keep them. And by donating them or selling, you bless another person who is going to have the chance to see if they work out for them. The second thing is to reorganize, to move 27 small things or one large thing. And the third thing is to symbolize. So let me tell you this story because it stuck with me for so long. I'm 58 now, and I was 15 years old when this happened. And I had a classmate that I was in Ecuador, and she was from the United States, and she had moved with her parents. And her brother, who was older than her, had stayed living in the United States, but he came to visit for the summer. And he noticed that she had gained a little bit of weight. It wasn't even much, it was like maybe 5 pounds. So he took a magazine and he cut out the image of a skinny girl wearing a bikini and he pasted that with tape on the refrigerator. And he told her, I'm going to put this here. So every time that you feel like having a snack, you remember your goal that you need to lose weight. And I
Was it
thought,
was it her goal? Hmm.
he convinced her it was.
Oh,
Right?
oh
And all
yeah.
of society was telling her that she should be skinny and look good in a bikini. But she was a healthy girl. There was nothing wrong with her. There was
Mhm,
no reason for her to be skinny, right? She was a healthy weight for her size and she had an active lifestyle. There was nothing in her that needed to be corrected. But there's this idea that you need to be skinny. As a woman, you need to be skinny, right? Again, the six pack ab or the flat belly so that you can wear a bikini. And I thought that was so negative. Even at 15 years old, I thought that is kind of it's almost like verbal abuse, because it's telling her like you're fat, you're fat, kind of like that.
mhm.
And she even wasn't fat. And but even if she had been, it's not a good strategy. And so you do want to have symbols around your home, what we call feng shui cures or feng shui enhancements. But what you want is symbols that don't shame you. You want symbols that uplift you and symbols that foster the kind of attitudes that you need to have in order to be successful in whatever it is you want to achieve. And so, for example, if you want to increase your wealth in the new year, putting an image of millions, like getting a picture of millions of dollars and putting that on your wall is not going to be as effective as having healthy living plants in your home. Because the care that you put on a plant to keep the plant healthy and growing, that fosters the kind of attitudes that you have to build your own wealth. Because for most people, wealth is built over time. And one of the necessities of growing your wealth is to be consistent and to be watchful. And also to understand that there are rhythms to nature. You don't get a plant and expect it to be huge in 3 days. You know that there's a process for growth. So the same thing with your investments, the same thing with growing a business, right? You need to do the right things every single day. You need to watch out. You need to look at the plant. You need to watch out for any kind of illness, any sign of distress. You need to find the exact spot for that plant in your home. You need to find a place where it's going to be healthy. And so all of these things are going to help you develop the qualities that are most likely to produce the result that you want.
Mm, nice. Yeah. Um, could you give us another example of specific example of a symbol that might be real common, safe, I don't know, for health or
Can you give me like
money, something that might.
a more specific example? Like, for example, this
Okay.
hypothetical person wants to achieve what this year?
Hmm. Uh-huh. Well, that's a good question. Um, well, just say for money. I know,
Uh-huh.
that's a topic that addresses many people as well as weight loss.
Yeah.
But so instead of um, I don't know. So, what would you put on your fridge, or what picture could you put on your wall, or something that would help with wealth? I mean, do you put up a pile of coins somewhere, or do you put an image of something you really want,
Yeah.
to purchase with
So
that money? Or
in in what they call traditional or classical feng shui, a lot of cures for wealth or money, they actually use the Chinese coins, the coins that are a circle with a square inside cut out. But that is not effective. First, because that is not no longer money. Maybe it was effective back in the day where it was still money, but it's not effective today. So I have never met a person that placed in their home a cure that included these Chinese coins tied with red string and jade or whatever it was that used that and they actually got money. But I have met plenty of people who placed a symbol of water in their foyer and then money started flowing. So one of the things that we use is the image of a waterfall in the center of the home or near to or on top of the front door. You can have an image of a waterfall that is facing you. And that is a more effective way to call money. It could also be a water fountain. It could be an image of a dolphin, some creature from the water, because money behaves like water. So in Feng Shui, money equals water, water equals money. What happens to water also happens to your money. So you have to be very watchful, make sure there's no leaks in your home, and make sure that outside your front door, if you have a water fountain, the water is pointing towards your door, not away from it.
hmm,
And as you come into the foyer, if you have a water fountain or a water image, that the water looks like it's coming in, because that is what is going to connect you with the idea of abundance, much more than having a pile of coins. Yeah. And so money soaks and goes down. That's what money does, like water. Water soaks and goes down. You can have an abundance of money coming in, but if you don't invest it, it's going to lose value. And so when you have water, if you put water on your yard, the water soaks and goes down. But if you have a tree and the water goes in the land, the roots of the tree absorb it and go up. And so in Feng Shui, the symbol for wealth is the tree, and the symbol for money is the waterfall, and the main symbol for water for money is the waterfall, and the main symbol for wealth is the tree. And so the tree symbolizes investments.
okay. Hmm.
Now, for weight loss, and if you wanted to put something on your refrigerator, the ideal thing to put on your refrigerator would be something that would remind you to eat healthy. For example, it could be recipes for healthy meals, or it could be images of the kinds of meals that you want to eat. And now here is there's a misconception in our Western world that the way to lose body fat is to eat salads. And because in the northern hemisphere, the beginning of the year is in the pretty much the middle of winter, right? The worst time of the year to eat raw salads, it's in
Oh,
the winter,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
And
Hmm.
so, I mean, if you were in Australia and you have the idea that you're going to eat healthier and lose body fat, and you do a salad regime, that might work for you if you are in Australia and it's the hottest time of the year. But if you are in the United States or any country in the Northern Hemisphere. That's not a good idea, right? But cooked vegetables, soups, things that are nourishing and that are warming, that's something that you want to do. And don't focus so much on looks, focus on the health.
Yeah, feeling good, and
Yes,
you know,
feeling good, being strong.
mhm,
I
yeah,
have, I taught fitness classes for 9 years. I used to teach Zumba and Pilates and bar and yoga and all these classes, right? And at some point, like I was like, I'm going to have a six pack, right? And every time I try to lose enough body fat, like to show a six pack, I'm one of those people that genetically I don't show a six pack very easily. So I have a six pack, right? I can feel my muscles. If I do a crunch on the floor, I can feel all the separation of the muscles. I'm very strong. I have very strong abs, but I don't have a flat belly, right? And every time when I was doing the fitness classes, every time that I got to a point where I could start showing the abs, I felt miserable because I had to bring my body fat to a point that it became unhealthy for me. And I was unhappy all the time. And then at some point I thought, why do I want to do this? I have never worn crop tops and I have never worn clothes that would show my belly. And I'm like, even if I had the six pack, I don't think I would want to wear clothes that would show my belly, right? And but it is what the culture feeds you, that
yeah,
you are a successful fitness person if you have the six pack, and that is not true. And that's what I was saying before. You need to make sure that your goals are aligned with your highest good.
yeah. Um, how can how can our homes help us find our highest good or tap into that highest good to,
Yeah.
because a lot
So
of us are so busy, right? We're hearing what the world wants us to hear, and to actually be able to tap into to hear your inner self, that's kind of foreign to some people.
yeah,
And
that's such a good question.
even for say for me that I'm familiar with it a lot, but sometimes it's hard to know exactly because you have not just your conscious, but you have all these subconscious patterns that are running you, and you think they're true,
True. Yeah.
and then you find out, well, no, that really didn't make me happy or something.
I think there's a really close connection between the goals you set up for your body and the goals you set up for your home, right?
Hmm.
I have seen a lot of people that they want to take better care of their home, and they invest in gadgets to take care of the home, and they
Hmm.
also invest in gadgets to exercise or in gadgets to cook better foods, right?
Hmm.
But no gadget is going to work if you don't use it, right? If I could have the best vacuum in the world, if I don't use it, my home's not going to look clean, right? And one way to measure this, whether something is for your highest good or not, is to like um, do like a shame evaluation. Am I doing this because I feel shame, or am I doing this because I feel joy? Right? And most of the time, most of the things that you feel shame about is because society or a particular person made you feel ashamed of that.
Right.
And so if you are feeling like if you're thinking about exercising, about eating healthier, if you focus on the joy it's going to give you, to not feel sluggish because you didn't eat a lot of junk food, right? And to actually feel energized because you ate good foods, and to feel satisfied because the foods were delicious. And when you focus towards that joy, that means you're getting healthier. But it's because of shame if you're thinking, I'm going to go on a trip with my girlfriends this summer and I have to fit the bikini because otherwise I'm going to be so ashamed. I'm going to be so ashamed to go to the beach and have to wear a bathing suit. And I want to wear a two-piece or whatever. So if it's focused on what are people going to think about me, that's probably not a good goal for you. But if it's focused on the joy that you're going to feel, then by all means, follow that. And so there's nothing wrong with somebody wanting to be thinner or fitter or having the six pack and putting on a bikini and flaunting their body. There's nothing wrong with that if that is the true desire of your heart. But if you're doing that because you're trying to please another person or because you believe you're going to be shamed if you are not skinny and you go to the beach, then that's a problem, right? In Feng Shui, one of the core concepts that we have is that when you come to life, you come with life missions.
Mm-hmm.
And those life missions are things that you came to do, learn for yourself, but also the things that you are to do for others. Like, for example, if you have a child, becoming the mother or the father of that child becomes your life mission. And it's an ongoing thing, right? And so you may have come to learn things about yourself too. Your life missions are recorded in your body, in the kidneys, according to Chinese medicine, right? But you don't have access to what your life missions are. You cannot know what your life mission is. Like, you're not going to have a printout. Okay, this is what you need to do. Number one, number two, number three. But what you feel is you feel a pull towards your next step, the next thing that you need to do, and it's a pull kind of like gravity. And this, should we get metaphysical?
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, there's a point. If you feel your belly button and you put four fingers here, right above your belly button, and then you push with this, with the thumb, there's a little point on your belly that feels a little bit tender. Is your energetic point of intent.
Like the
It's
solar
not-
plexus.
yeah. And so when you are looking at something, you're trying to figure out, is this the best thing for me? And you connect with that point. If it is a good thing for you, that you're going to feel a pull toward it. You're going to feel like you have a ring on your belly and there's a string tied to it and something is pulling you toward that. And when it's not for your highest good, you're going to feel a disruption. You're actually going to feel like something is breaking or something is cracking. And for some people who are really, really sensitive, they might actually feel sick. And so I have had clients, that maybe they got a really good job offer, and they did the list of the pros and the cons of leaving my current job and going into this new job. And then the job looked really good on paper, but every time they thought about going to this office building and working there, they got a tummy ache every time they thought about it. And they felt like they were unraveling, and they felt it in their belly.
Hmm.
And so one of the things that are really fascinating about Feng Shui is that we can know that the teachings of Feng Shui are true because you feel them in the body. You feel these things in your body. There's certain points in your body that respond to certain conditions or certain situations in life.
Mhm.
And even the heart, right? In Feng Shui, we believe that the true essence of the person is in the heart, in the hollow spaces of the heart. And so if you're trying to decide if something's good or not for you, another thing that you can do is you can put your right hand on your heart and just feel it. Feel if you are drawn to it, or feel if you want to withdraw from it. And that's a really good thing that you can do too. If the goal that you set for yourself elevates you in your own eyes, it's probably for your highest good. But if it drops you energetically in your own eyes, then it's probably not good for you.
Yeah. Good things to think about.
Yeah. It's more important for a person to learn to love themselves than for that person to work actively to make themselves perfect.
Oh, that's for sure. Well, and we'll never be perfect, right? Or
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
you're working toward perfection, chances are you're not going to ever get there. Well, even if you're
Yeah.
not working for protect for
Yeah. I saw it the
perfection
other day,
for people. Yeah.
I saw a reel where they had like these they had like 5 or 6 women that are universally known as beautiful, and they were talking about how ugly they felt.
Hmm.
And it was very interesting to see that, because there's so many people in the world that are looking at these women and thinking, oh, what wouldn't I give to look like her? And that person is looking at themselves and finding themselves lacking. And I think that's the
Mhm.
influence of the world, trying to make us be perfect. And all of marketing is designed to make you feel like you lack, like you're not good enough,
Yeah.
because otherwise you wouldn't buy, especially things you don't need. They can get you to buy things when you feel like you are not good enough, and then they sell you this illusion that you could be this way, and that all of your problems, all of your life would be fixed if you just got this one thing. And for some people it's that, if I just lost the weight, my life would be perfect. If I
Yeah.
just made more money, my life would be perfect. If I don't know, if I became stronger, then my life would be perfect, right? And it's not like that. The feelings of happiness, what you were saying before, right? The feelings
Mhm.
of happiness, the feeling of contentment, that comes from inside. And one of the things my mentor taught me is that two people can experience the exact same thing, the exact same experience, and for one person that is a blessing, and for the other person that is a curse.
Mhm.
And that is because of how the person reacts to the situation and how that situation affects them.
Right. Well, and I was thinking, for some people, the body image, of not thinking we're pretty enough or good, our body isn't good
Yeah,
enough, or we have to be thinner, or we hate our bodies, or whatever, is very much related to childhood trauma or things
that too. Yeah.
that, um, I know that has been with me. And it was really cool. It was just a couple days ago, no, last week maybe it was, and it was so, like, I'll be 65 in a few weeks, and it's
Uh-huh.
like I did this one, a biofield tuning, a clearing thing, and
Yeah.
it dug in really deep and cleared something major that didn't want to let go, but it did. And it was like the day afterwards, it was like something came up, and it was like I was talking to myself and to my body and saying, "You are beautiful." And I caught myself,
Yeah.
and thought, I've never ever thought that or said that before.
That's a huge change, right?
And
That's a huge transformation.
that was huge.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
happen, through the feng shui process. I have a group program that's called the Dream Home Lab, where people learn how to turn their current homes into dream homes. And one of the participants at some point, because one of the things we do is we teach you how to declutter, and by categories of things, right? So she got to decluttering photos, family photos, of the family she raised, photos of she when she was younger. And the takeaway for her from doing this decluttering photos process was, I was gorgeous at every single stage of my life. The most surprising thing for her was to see how beautiful she was as a little girl, as a teenager, as a young mother. And then she had the thought, what if I'm still beautiful?
Oh,
And then she
yeah.
has grown kids, she has grandchildren. And her life changed from seeing herself, seeing how beautiful she had been. And another thing she did is she took the makeup out of the bedroom, I mean, out of the bathroom. And then she set up a space for her to do her makeup in the morning with better light, sitting, being relaxed. And she's like, gosh, I'm gorgeous. And so she had this transformation through the feng shui process of turning her current home into her dream home, learning to see herself as beautiful.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Would you want to talk about y- your offerings? I mean, you talked a little bit about the dream home. If you want to go
Oh,
into
yeah.
more
Yeah. So
details or things about whatever.
if people want to go to my website, it's 9stepstofengshui.com with the nine spelled out. But if you can also type spacearrangement.com, spacearrangement.com takes you also to my website. And if you go to the menu, you're going to see a link to join my online community. And that's the thing that I would recommend that you do, because I'm doing every Tuesday, I'm doing live lessons that anybody can come and take. Right now, we're still in the founding members period or stage, and so you don't have to pay anything to come into the group, and you won't have to pay anything in any time in the future. And so there's courses that you can take that are there for free. You can get discounts for other kinds of courses that are more complex and deeper on the feng shui world. And be in community, because one of the best things that you can do for yourself to improve your home and to improve your life is be around people that are not living the story of marketing, people who are connected to something else. Feng shui is not in the mainstream. And if you can connect with more people who are not letting themselves be driven by the messages of mainstream media and marketing and influencers, and you can come to a place where you can meet other people, where you can learn about feng shui, where you can learn about ancient East Asian philosophy, and find new ways in which you may thrive in your life. Your home is constantly talking to you. You need to make sure that your home is telling you good things. And of course, once you come into the community, then you're going to become acquainted with other programs like the membership program that I have, the Dream Home Lab, where you can get feedback on your own home. You can get to take some beautiful, amazing courses on the feng shui, the home decor aspects of feng shui. And of course, you can also work directly with me, or you can even train to become a feng shui expert.
Yeah, very good.
But it starts with joining the online community.
Mhm. And I know it's been very, very worth it to me, and
Yeah.
um, it works. It works, and I've been really, well, like I said, it was totally new to me, right? I didn't know anything about it, and never had any training in it, or any,
Yeah.
didn't even ever feel comfortable thinking I knew what went together or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just it feels good, right? Yeah,
And I
to
know,
have a
yeah,
life you love in a home that makes you
the
proud.
home that makes you proud. And I know that recently you have been sharing some photos of improvements that you have made in your home, and you're getting this reaction where people are like, "Wow, this is such a amazing transformation." And so now you are starting to be perceived as a person who knows about style, right?
Mm,
And so
mhm,
that's
mhm.
yeah, and a person that they might go to and say, "Hey, can you help me make my home as beautiful as your home is?" And you also have done this. You have made your home your own, right? You're not following
Mhm.
trends. You're actually
Right,
stopping to
right.
think, okay, what are the colors that I love? What are the fabrics that I love? What do I want to see in my home? And so one of the things that you did that I just found amazing is like you had this China Hutch cabinet, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
And I mean, it was pretty, but you had the idea of putting some contact paper on the back to bring some light and the colors. And you chose some of the colors that you had painted on your walls and the new curtains that you got. And you chose some contact paper that put all of that together. And this piece of furniture just came to life. And it
yeah,
became like an accent piece in your
yeah.
home. Whereas before it was like a corner, that
Mhm.
didn't matter much. And now it's such a source of beauty and joy.
Yeah, yeah, it feels good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Do you have any, final, I guess, suggestions or comments on, keeping our resolutions or
Yes. Yeah. So
reminders?
our Western New Year, January 1st, is an artificial date that has been chosen, right?
Yes,
Right?
yes, it is,
And
absolutely.
so it doesn't make sense
No.
in terms of the natural world and the cycles of our planet, the Earth. It doesn't make much sense. It's artificially chosen. And so I would recommend that you take this time between today, the beginning of January, and the beginning of the Chinese year. The next year that's going to start is the year of the horse, the year of the fire horse. And that is in February, right? So between this time and the beginning of the year, take this time to make plans. Do the research. Whatever your goals are, do research, read books, watch videos, watch movies, ask people who have already achieved what you want to achieve how they did it. And so give yourself some time to research and make plans, and don't start in full with your resolutions until the beginning of the lunar year, because then you will go with nature, and the energy of nature is going to help you out.
Hmm, very nice. And talking about the Chinese New Year, um, Moni's going to be back in 2 to 3 weeks, something like that, as
Yes, and we're going
a
to talk about that. I'm working on the analysis of the Chinese New Year right now.
awesome. And
Yeah.
it's the year of the fire
It's
horse.
the
Is
year of
that
the fire horse, and it's still on my website. I nailed the year of the snake. It's like every year I do this analysis, and every year my assessment gets even more accurate. Yeah.
so what did you or maybe that's something you want to get into the next time you're here. What did you say about 2025 and how did that come about?
One of the things I said is the snake, right? The
Hmm.
snake works on the floor. The snake does not elevate itself, right? Except when
Hmm.
it wants to strike. The snake slithers and it goes from side to side. So, one of the things that I had said is that in the world of politics, you were going to see politicians crossing lines and going from one side to the other. And that
Ah.
people were going to be appalled and they're going to be like, what's going on? And a lot of people will feel betrayed. But in the year of the snake, the only way to move is to zigzag.
Hmm.
The only way to
Okay.
progress, the only way to get somewhere, right? And I
Hmm.
also had said the the wood snake is the plume snake and is the symbol of the Americas, the indigenous people of the Americas, right?
Okay.
And so I had predicted that there was going to be a unification of Latin America with the indigenous people of North America,
Okay.
which is actually happening, not necessarily in the best way, but there is this sense of cohesion now because of things that are happening internationally in terms of politics and finances. And so there is this new consciousness of Latin America as a unit with the Native American people of the United States. And I have also seen this year more than any year, there's a lot of influencers that actually come from indigenous people of the Americas, and they're actually teaching the shamanic teachings from long ago,
Hmm.
which are very much needed because we need to take better care of the planet, right? And some, I mean, there's plenty of people you could follow
Hmm.
on TikTok, Instagram, and stuff like that that are sharing for the first time ever knowledge that the indigenous people of the Americas have kept secret for 500 years.
Hmm. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also said there wouldn't be a recession.
Ah,
And at the beginning of 2025, everybody was predicting there would be a recession.
right. Right. They
Uh-huh.
were. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I now have to do the analysis to see if there will be a recession in 2026.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to hearing more about that then in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's going to be
About the fire
exciting.
force. Yeah, for sure. So Moni, I guess we'll end there for now. And if you want to say one more time your website and your
Yeah. Nine
program.
steps to fengshui.com or spacearrangement.com will take you to the same website.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Moni.
you
And
so
I'll
much
look.
for having me over.
Oh, you're welcome. And I look forward to hearing about the fire horse in a couple weeks. Very good. Bye bye, everyone. Thanks so much for watching.